Hi, everyone. My name is Mallory Cruise-McGrath, and I am the managing editor here at Floor Covering Weekly. I am joined today by two titans of the industry, Piet Dossche, founder of USFloors and the COREtec brand, and member of the board at Shaw Industries, and Thomas Baert, president of CFL Flooring, to discuss not only the state of the global floor covering market, but also the forces shaping the current trends and innovations that are influencing the purchasing decisions of today's consumers. Thank you both so much for being here and for lending your insight.
Thank you, Mallory. Hello, Thomas.
Hey, Piet. Hi, good afternoon, Mallory.
There's so much going on in the industry, but I think first, maybe we just briefly discuss the pandemic, which has so significantly impacted all facets of the flooring industry. And I'm wondering if you both could, sort of just touch upon the current state of the Asian flooring market and products that are produced in that region.
Well, obviously Thomas is closer to that market than I am, but it's this whole 2020 and the pandemic year has been a roller coaster year for the Asian manufacturers. There's no question about that. When we all panicked in March and basically shut down the supply chain, they had to act accordingly. Then later on in May, June, we saw the business coming back. We turned the tap back on, and orders started to come in again like a tsunami. We wanted them to go back to normal levels of production, but in no time. So it's been a roller coaster for them from feast or from famine to feast, and still there's a lot of pressure right now on that supply chain and on the Asian manufacturers because of the demand that has really come back very strong at the end of last year, and of course still in the beginning of this year. And I take my hat off for them, because it's not an easy scenario, having to answer in such a short notice to these type of ups and downs. On top of that, they had all kind of raw material increases. They had all kind of issues with containers, with chassis, with availability. A tough year, but I think things are starting to settle down somewhat. There's still some noise in the market and some noise in the supply chain, but it's starting to settle down somewhat. They've always done a great job, and they're still doing a great job. So we really appreciate their strong partnership and what they're doing for us, their partners here in the United States.
Yeah, I can only confirm. I think the resilience and the flexibility of Asia is just incredible. I think it's hard to underestimate that. And I think Peter reflected on this really well. The roller coaster. I think if you would do this in the West, you probably would need months to pick it up and to react. Basically, this is one of the big strengths of China. Maybe to elaborate a little bit on in addition to what Piet just mentioned, is that the Chinese market, of course, is doing relatively well. COVID, let's say the market was not the domestic market. I'm not talking about the export market. I'm talking a little bit about the domestic sales. The market is growing, and we believe that SPC will become a major category in China. So this will be interesting. It's not yet very clear, but definitely people start seeing the benefit of that. So the Chinese market is not very much influenced by COVID at all. People hardly still wear masks. There is, a few weeks ago there was a little bit of a panic again, but this seems to be relaxed again more. So it's quite amazing how we live in the two different worlds, I think. But anyway, I think everybody basically knows that.
So I think, Thomas, it's great to hear that the local market is developing and an appetite for SPC and rigid core LVT is growing, because, as well as I do, there's always been a focus on both Europe and the United States to take all the growth, and there's always want to be growth every year. Every one of our manufacturing partners just want to expand. And it's not just in China, but in Taiwan and Vietnam as well. So there's been a lot of pressure on the traditional markets, Europe and the United States, having to absorb all that growth, which means sometimes more volumes coming into the market than there is demand for, which is pressure on pricing. So the fact that now the Chinese market is developing, it will give our partners the opportunity to continue to grow, but deviate some of that some of that pressure away from the Western markets, the Europe and American and United States markets and Canadian markets, and really have the local market take care and absorb the growth that they're looking for every year. So I'm happy to hear that, because it's been a tough time balancing demand versus supply and growth expectations versus what we in our markets can deliver for everyone. What happens in China in this instance is good for the rest of the world as well.
Yeah, it's still not the big boom like we have in the United States. The enormous growth that you saw in the United States was kind of a tsunami. So I don't think there's a tsunami going on, but there's clear signs that the product might be accepted as a very viable flooring product with all the advantages of. I mean, if you think about it, in a lot of laminate flooring right now in China is actually looking after a few years is wearing out and
sure.
And I think SPC for all these hotels and I mean, it's a good replacement for ceramic. It's actually should be a pretty normal or pretty logic that this becomes a major
sure.
product in the future. But again, it's in the development, and we will see how it goes the next couple of years.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now, to both your points, the flooring industry really and truly is a global industry. What market trends would you say are we seeing take shape in flooring industries in Europe, in Asia, here in the US? How are they influencing each other? Are there significant commonalities? Are there significant differences? What type of relationship are we seeing play out there?
I can start maybe. It's not only flooring, but I think there is a very interesting analysis to be made as a difference between the different continents. I always think that Europe is leading a manufacturing excellence. So when you think about Europe, they're always focusing on making things more efficient, but they're very conservative on bringing new products to markets. They don't like change, and if you look at this at products, totally the opposite of the United States. So I would say the United States leads everything regarding to sales and marketing. It's very much open to new innovation. The mind of an American is just incredible. How if you can convince an American that he can make more money with something else, he will do it. The European will say, I have something and it sells, leave me alone. I don't want to change anything. So an American is really open to change and knows how to bring products to market, knows how to explain a product to the consumer. So they totally excel there. And then I think, not everybody will agree with me on that, I know, but I think that China leads on product innovation, and that is because flexibility in manufacturing. Innovation is basically many times combining know-how of different industries, of different things, bringing this together. And if you do this, you need flexibility. You need machinery that are allowing you to do that, and usually you need some manual work to do this. So, and in combination with the flexibility of the Chinese, I think this really brings innovation. So that's where I would say how the difference is between the different continents. But I wonder what Piet and what you guys think about that.
No, I mean, Thomas, I think you're right in what you're saying. I mean, obviously, we're both Europeans. I live in the United States. You live in Europe and in China, but in Europe for most part. I mean, we see exactly how these two markets are developing. In the United States, we always try to basically look for an upside story in order to bring more bells and whistles and get a better price at the sale, both at the wholesale level and at the retail level. Basically try to create added value. In Europe, it's always, I mean, how economically can we make it? I don't want to use the word cheap, but how economically can we make it? How can we bring costs down? How can we get more efficient at it? And how can we therefore maybe drive things a little more from a cost point of view lower? And in the United States, it's more bells and whistles to drive the price point higher. Of course, things have to be competitive in the United States as well. But, and the innovation part in China, exactly. But that is being steered as well from China are the executors and innovators as well, but in many cases, the executors of the ideas that start in Europe and start in the United States. And we take them to China because they're the only platform that can really do the things that we want them to do in such a short period of time and at such a fast pace. Nobody else in Europe or in the United States, it takes forever to get things done. And China and Vietnam, Asia for that matter, but China for sure is still outperforming from that point of view. But I think if you look at a little bit at the COVID scenario here, I mean, COVID has been global. A global issue has been something that, of course, everyone had to deal with. And we've seen the same things happening all over the world, in Europe, in the States. And, everyone has been looking to kind of find a way to stay home, to kind of communicate from home, look at their house as their cocoon, as their safe haven, develop innovation within the house. We've been the beneficiaries, our industry. We've been lucky that we've been, if you want to have the COVID winners and the COVID losers, I mean, we are part of the COVID winners as a result of this whole scenario. Thank God for that, because we've seen the benefit of all this innovation and remodeling and sprucing up of the homes and these home offices. And I think that trend is here to stay. Obviously, COVID is going to eventually subside, and we will see a return to normal. But I think the normal will be a different normal than the normal we had prior to COVID. And having calls like this, and having communication from home, and working from home, and in combination with maybe some visits to the office for certain meetings and for certain kind of training and pep talks, and get the DNA of the company over, will happen. But COVID has changed quite a bit. Our industry have been winners in this segment, but across Europe and across the United States, all over the world, you see the same things happening when it comes to what the consumer is looking for, innovation and products as well. So I think there's a lot of similarity, but certainly some new things have emerged. That's for sure.
That's certainly true, and I think something that we're seeing here that is very prevalent in the U.S. and it's retailers that have embraced technology when it comes to new forms of getting product to consumers. So we just did a whole feature on it in our issue that just closed this week, and it's shop at home. And whether that's physically bringing samples to the customer, or even outfitting, which was a big thing we're seeing is retailers purchasing vans and outfitting them as mobile showrooms for those consumers who aren't comfortable leaving just yet, leaving their home, but still they're stuck in their homes. They're seeing these rooms that they've been wanting to redo for so long. Now they have the time. Many have the means more to do it because they're not traveling, they're not going out to restaurants, maybe they're receiving a stimulus check. So it's been very encouraging and bringing a sense of optimism to see really how retailers here have been embracing technology to boost their business.
Yeah, no question. The good thing as well, Mallory, is that basically all categories have seen a surge. I mean, it's not just normally we would have this discussion. It's always LVT and rigid core and SPC, and because that has been the growth factor in the last five to 8 years. But during 2020, I mean, carpet has seen a resurrection. I mean, even laminate has seen a surge. All different products have been lifted because of the demand that has resulted from these remodeling and from this COVID phenomenon that we've seen with the consumer cocooning at home and trying to make that their safe haven. So it's been a benefit for the entire industry, which is great.
Absolutely. Speaking of technology, can you guys talk to me a little bit about the role that technology has played in not only the development of products that we see in the market, but style and design, product performance, which has just become so important in recent years.
Okay, well, product development, technology, I think basically what we're always trying to do is we're trying to resolve the negative, the disadvantages of the existing product to something new. Yeah. Therefore, we need technology and we need a lot of good ideas. So it's a combination of listening to your customer and then finding the technologies to resolve them. Specifically, and I think this call is also specifically to Domotex Asia, the exhibition that I'm very proud of. We are trying we will be introducing on Domotex Asia a product specifically that, from a technology point of view, is able to bring the quietest product on the market. We call it NovoCore Q. So basically, this is just an example of one specific need again that comes to markets. Sound. So that's one thing. That's technology. There's a lot of things to be learned still about sound. I think we all know when you go to a restaurant how much you can be bothered by noise or by. I think this is something that our generation or that the new generation will probably be much more sensitive to than we are today.
Well, apartment living too.
Yeah, I'm personally, I'm very much a believer in this. So we're having a lab at CFL where we work on that. We really try to understand sound. And again, this can be done by bringing multi-layer products together, bringing different layers of different materials together. So a very interesting technology. Secondly, I would say scratch. Still work to be done there. Second step, a lot of work is done there as well. Sustainability doesn't go away. Continuous process. And then style and design. Style and design, repeat patterns, less digital printing. These are just some examples of technology and changes that the industry is bringing to market. Wonder what Piet will say now, because I remember once seeing an interview between Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, and I remember that Bill Gates was describing a type of a new phone, and he was actually describing an iPhone, a mobile phone, an iPhone, and Steve Jobs was looking at him and didn't say anything. So I hope I'm not the Bill Gates of this interview.
Well, I mean, I'm not the Steve Jobs either, Thomas, but I'm glad to hear of all your new innovation, and I have taken the detailed notes of all that. So thank you very much. I really appreciate that. No, I mean, listen, technology, of course, is important. I mean, it's important in any segment of our industry, and you nailed it. I always say, I mean, innovation and development, product development, should only be there and should make sense when you bring solutions to problems that other previous innovations were not able to bring to the table. So we have to be very careful with product development innovation, that it's not just a gimmick, it's not just a variant on the same theme over and over again. I mean, bringing solutions to our dealers and consequently to the consumer is of course very important. I mean, it all starts with the decor. Yeah, you've named it, Thomas, the digital printing, scratch resistant improvement when it comes to dimension stability, different type of core materials, different type of, I mean, all that is happening. And I don't think, we need to focus on that too much, because there's many other people in our industry that are closer to product that have made elaborate explanation about all that. But we know what technology can bring, and it's a key to staying successful. It's a key to staying innovative, and it's a key to bring solutions to the market, not just gimmicks, because that's just a waste of time, a waste of samples, a waste of floor space, and it's too confusing for the consumer, which is already very confused as she is. So one thing, going further on our previous question there, if there's one country that really embraces technology and can really make these things happening fast, again, it's China. I take my hat off for every manufacturing partner and every company that basically makes the product in China, because for them innovation is a constant. It's constantly in their mind. I mean, and if there is a technology, they are immediately jumping in it. They're adapting it. They're looking at it. They're fine tuning it. and it might not be right the first time, but at least they take the step to take it to the next level. Sometimes we in the West, we overanalyze, we overthink. We takes too long. Speed to market is always the key when it comes to innovation and when it comes to using new technology to bring solutions to the market. So no question, technology is a key.
Absolutely. And I think we just touched upon this, but big changes that have been seen over the past 5 years. What immediately comes to mind for each of you, and where's there still room for growth and innovation in this industry?
I think Piet, I will just say something very short, and then I'll give the compliment to Piet. I think Piet Dossche has been the inventor of understanding and teaching to the market. At least that's how I look at him. The focus on the importance of waterproof is definitely something that was not so much in the industry before Piet actually launched COREtec and explaining that to the market. So I think that's a major change, and that's now on every product basically. I mean, that's still the buzzwords, but maybe Piet can elaborate on this.
No, I think so what's for me, obviously, major thing that happened in the last 5 to 8 years is indeed this innovation in LVT and the waterproof flooring category that has really established itself as a prime category. I mean, it's not just in LVT. I mean, laminated is now waterproof. I mean, wood flooring, we're looking at waterproof. So again, and it's bringing a solution that was a problem for the consumer. I mean, water was and still is a challenge when it comes to flooring. And we're bringing in all different categories, we're bringing that solution to the consumer. So I mean, innovation. There will be always innovation, and there will be this will. But I think I think again, if I look at where we really can move the needle and what COVID has done or learned or basically taught us, what we learned from COVID and what is I think the innovation and the thinking and needs to be more in the sense of our supply chain or approach to approach your customer, becoming part of that e-commerce boom that we've seen happening in the West, and making sure that our industry becomes part of that. It's not a good scenario where we have 20% of the market, which is roughly the size of the LVT, 5 billion, 5.5 billion of the 25 billion, where the majority of that product, 80% of that, is being sourced I'm talking about US market right now. I think we have learned in the last months that the supply chain is very vulnerable. Today we're still fighting that. Today we have the biggest challenge. If we want to continue to grow that segment in our markets, then we need to have more of a control stateside, and I welcome, Thomas, you're one of them, investing in the United States. There are several companies that are coming over and invest in the United States to be closer to their partners, and we as a company, Shaw Industries, Mohawk as well, Mannington, we all see the same thing, and we invest in that segment because we need to be more innovative, more creative on how to get the supply chain shortened, simplified, how to get more of that, into our closer to home without alienating our partners. And I'm so happy to hear that they have opportunity in the local market. So all this will balance out over time, whereby more is made in the United States, more is made maybe eventually in Europe. It doesn't really mean that plants have to shut down in China. No, just the opposite. They can still supply whatever they have been supplying in the past and some more, but the growth for them will come in the local market. And then the fact that we, how do we get our product to the consumer? I mean, I'm absolutely amazed always that every year the US industry, spent $500–600 million worth of samples and displays to basically cram more product into the market. You know, if you go to a retail store, it's full. You know, it's full. There's plenty of everything. Okay, yet every year we say, well, we need to put another $500 million of more product into that segment which is already full, and we do it year after year after year, and we feel if we don't do it, we're going to lose out to a competition. That's a kind of a crazy way, because not everything that we bring out is indeed revolutionary to the point whereby it moves the needle for the consumer. It's just too much of it, and we need to think about that. We need to think about our supply chain. We need to think how we bring product to the consumer, and then we need to think how we engage the consumer into the process with our retail partners. How we really have that direct connection with the consumer, so that we, with a brand, create a brand. We all need to create more brands. We need more brands in our industry, real brands that are meaningful, that the consumer can recognize and is proud to have in their homes. I think that's where, in my opinion, the biggest opportunity for innovation and for disruption comes from, because all the rest, yes, we will have better scratch, better digital, better this, better that. We'll have all that. That will be an automatic evolution. But if you really want to move the needle, in my opinion, it's in those three segments: supply chain, how to bring product to the market, and how to engage the consumer.
I can only agree on that. I mean, we as CFL, we are making major investment in the United States, as probably some people know. We have a very clear market strategy to stay loyal to our existing customers. And the investments we're going to make in the next couple of years is going to be very substantial, and that basically confirms what Piet is saying. We need to be closer to our customers, working with our customers to the next step, and that's where it comes. When you develop your business, you become a global player, and becoming a global player means that you're manufacturing in closer to your customer, and that's exactly what we're going to do.
Fantastic. Now, for those unable to attend Domotex Asia Chinafloor 2021, what is the most important thing to know about the innovation that's coming out of the Asia Pacific region, and the impact that this innovation can have on consumer trends and consumer preferences worldwide?
Well, I think we've already discussed some of that already in the last couple questions, Mallory. But you know, needless to say, I mean, I'm very sad I cannot be there. I mean, I'm sure Thomas is sad as well. We are die-hard fans of this show, and die-hard fans of what's happening in China, die-hard fans of the innovation, and we would love to see for ourselves what's going on. So my pledge is that as soon as I can, I'm on a plane to China to see for myself, because it's very difficult to explain what will be there in the next coming weeks on that show. I'm sure there will be some unique things that we can adapt, that we can embrace here for the market. You know, it's always a market where you see excitement, where you see new products, where you sometimes, I mean, products that don't make a lot of sense, but you can always pick up something and say, if I put A and B together, and I end up with you know, not just C but the whole alphabet, and I'll create something completely new again. So it's an important show. I miss it. I'm gonna miss being there. But as soon as I can, I'm on a plane to see for myself what the next innovation is going to be in China, and what's happening there right now. We hear it from our partners, but it's nothing like seeing it for yourself. I wish that Floor Covering Weekly or your company could walk around with a camera, you know, and kind of give us a live review on what's happening aisle to aisle, booth to booth. So then we see it for ourselves. But anyway, that's my take on it.
You and me both. And Thomas, I know there's much to, you know, CFL will be showing quite a bit.
Yeah, we're going to have, to be honest, we're going to have the largest presence ever. So we are there with a huge booth, prime location at Domotex Asia. I think people are expecting us to confirm our leadership, where we're going, and we prove it also in the domestic market. But like Piet says, I mean, we are missing the inspiration, and in the world of trade wars and of continents more and more becoming protective again of each other, I think exhibitions is something that that we as people, as business people, we are able to, when we meet, we can really be open to each other, and we don't have to worry too much. Of course, the political wars are there, but I think there's nothing more peacemaking than business people talking business and talking something constructive.
Yep.
This is so much more productive than all the politics, and we are too much influenced every day by what's going on in the world on political levels. So I think it's incredible, and if I look at my life, it's the fact, what are you most proud of? Is the fact that you have friends in different places of the world, and where you have things where you have common interests, rather than disagreement. So I think that actually is what this floor covering industry is all about. It's about a better life for all, and being able to enjoy basically.
Well, and it's so well said. And you know, this industry is such a relationship-driven industry, and it's one of the things I love most about it. So I, for one, I wish, you know, it's my second year in a row not attending Domotex in Shanghai, and I miss it greatly. So I'm keeping my fingers crossed, you know, cautiously optimistic for next year. But thank you both so much for joining me today. I wish, you know, we were able to sit down in Shanghai to have this conversation, but I'm glad that technology has afforded us the ability to, you know, at least be able to see each other, you know, this way and have this great conversation. You know, there's clearly much going on, and a lot of good things to come for the industry. So let's keep this conversation going in the months ahead. And I, you know, thank you both so much for your time and insight. You know, I can ask the questions, but it's you guys that really are able to offer and lend your expertise and, you know, and your perspective. So I really appreciate it. But thank you both so much.
You're welcome, Mallory. Thank you.
Yeah, always a pleasure. Regards to everyone all around the world.
Yeah, Thomas, all the best, and good luck to all of our partners.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.